Have you ever prayed with sincerity, poured out your heart, waited quietly, and felt like heaven was silent? Like your words rose upward, but nothing answered back? You replay your prayers. You check your faith. You wonder if you did something wrong. And slowly, a dangerous thought creeps in. Maybe God isn't speaking anymore. But what if the silence you feel isn't abandonment? What if it isn't distance? What if it isn't rejection? What if God is speaking, clearly, consistently, but certain habits have trained your heart not to recognize His voice anymore? This is uncomfortable to hear, but it's necessary, because many believers don't drift away from God all at once. They drift quietly, slowly, through routines that feel harmless, through distractions that seem normal, through patterns that dull spiritual sensitivity over time. Today's message may challenge you. It may expose habits you've justified for years. It may make you pause and examine how you've been listening, or not listening, to God. But it may also rescue you from confusion that keeps repeating itself. Rescue you from delays that feel unexplainable. Rescue you from misdirection that costs time, peace, and clarity. Before you go any further, subscribe now. Spiritual warnings are often ignored because they don't feel urgent until consequences arrive. Don't let this be another message you hear once and forget. Stay connected, because missing what God is saying can cost more than you realize. John 10 verse 27 says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me." This verse is not symbolic. It is relational. Jesus doesn't say His sheep occasionally hear Him. He says they listen, meaning attention, recognition, and response are expected. Hearing God is not presented here as a rare spiritual event. It is described as a defining feature of belonging to Him. Isaiah 30 verse 21 says, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" This scripture speaks to guidance in motion, decisions, crossroads, uncertainty. God's voice is shown as present, directional, and timely. Not distant, not vague, not silent. Together, these verses establish a firm truth. God speaks, God guides, and His people are meant to hear Him clearly enough to follow. If clarity is missing, Scripture directs us not to question God's willingness, but to examine our readiness to listen. God's voice is not reserved for pastors, prophets, or a select spiritual few. Scripture never suggests that hearing Him is a reward for perfection. It presents it as part of relationship. But relationship requires attentiveness. Hearing God is less about volume and more about alignment. Just like a quiet voice can be missed in a noisy room, God's guidance can become difficult to recognize when your life is filled with constant distraction, emotional noise, and unexamined habits. Many people want direction without stillness. They want clarity without obedience. They want answers without making space to receive them. God has not stopped speaking. The problem is often what we allow to dominate our attention. Endless noise, constant rushing, emotional impulsiveness, delayed obedience, ignoring conviction because it's inconvenient. Over time, these habits don't harden the heart overnight, they dull it. And a dulled heart struggles to distinguish God's voice from its own thoughts, fears, or desires. This is why confusion can persist even while prayer continues. This is why people feel spiritually stuck despite being active. This is why guidance feels unclear even when Scripture is familiar. God's voice is consistent, but recognition requires a posture that is willing to listen, pause, and respond. And that posture is shaped, or weakened, by daily habits. When your life is constantly distracted, rushed, and emotionally reactive, clarity doesn't disappear suddenly, it fades gradually. You still pray, but your mind is crowded. You still believe, but you rarely pause. You still ask God for direction, yet every quiet moment is filled with noise, scrolling, talking, reacting, or worrying. Over time, this creates spiritual interference. When conviction comes and you postpone it, sensitivity weakens. When obedience feels uncomfortable and you delay it, discernment dulls. When silence feels awkward and you escape it, guidance becomes harder to recognize. This shows up in real life more than people admit. In waiting seasons, you feel stuck, not because God hasn't given direction, but because stillness feels unfamiliar. In moments of rejection, reassurance feels distant, not because God has withdrawn, but because fear is louder than trust. In seasons of discipline, growth feels heavy, not because it's wrong, but because comfort has become the priority. In major decisions, uncertainty grows, not because there is no answer, but because too many voices are competing for attention. Unhealthy habits don't always look sinful. Many look normal, acceptable, even productive. But anything that consistently crowds out attentiveness to God slowly reshapes how you listen. Letting go of these habits is not about restriction. It's not about control. It's about alignment. Alignment between your pace and God's timing. Alignment between your attention and His guidance. Alignment between what fills your days and what shapes your discernment. When alignment begins, clarity follows. Take a moment, not to rush past this, not to analyze others, but to reflect honestly. Ask yourself, what habit in my life leaves no room for God's voice? Is it constant noise? Is it emotional impulsiveness? Is it avoiding conviction because change feels uncomfortable? Is it busyness that leaves no space for stillness? This question isn't meant to accuse you. It's meant to awaken awareness. God is not angry with you. He is not withholding guidance out of frustration. He is patient. He is consistent. And He remains willing to lead you, even now. The fact that you're listening to this message is evidence that He hasn't stopped reaching for your attention. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need perfect discipline. You don't need to hear Him the way others do. You only need willingness. Willingness to pause. Willingness to listen. Willingness to respond when clarity comes, even if it stretches you. God responds to hearts that make room. This is serious, and it needs to be said. Spiritual neglect rarely announces itself as danger. It feels harmless until direction is lost, peace fades, and confusion becomes normal. Many people look back and realize they ignored warning signs, convictions, and moments of clarity because staying comfortable felt easier than staying attentive. If you skip subscribing now, you may skip the very message meant to interrupt a decision that costs you later. Guidance often comes before crisis, not during it. Subscribe now so you don't miss teachings that protect your growth, sharpen your discernment, and keep you aligned when life gets loud. Like this video so it reaches someone who is silently struggling to hear God again. Share it with someone who feels distant but hasn't said it out loud. And leave a comment saying I'm listening, not for engagement, but as a declaration of readiness. As you go forward from this moment, may your heart learn to slow down without fear. May your attention shift from constant noise to quiet awareness. May habits that dull discernment lose their grip, and habits that create space take root. May confusion give way to clarity. May restlessness give way to direction. And may you recognize God's guidance with increasing confidence as you learn to listen again. Grace and peace be with you, today and in every step that follows.